Good morning, students of class 8th. Welcome to a new topic of grammar, and that is active and passive voice. Before I begin, I must tell you that you must have the knowledge of tenses for doing active and passive. Now, let's start today's lesson. It's about active and passive voice. And really, trust me, students, it's not that boring. It is very simple topic. And to simplify this complex topic, I have chosen the simple present tense today. We will go tense wise so there is no confusion. First of all, we will come to know what is active and what is passive voice. Example, the man takes the dog for a walk. It's an active, it's simple. You know that it is a basic simple sentence. But suppose if I want to generate some curiosity and I want to tell, I have been told that Dinesh and Sunita are playing. So I have generated the curiosity because I have been told you. I have not told you who told me that, right? I just told you that I have been told. Do you know who told me? Of course not. And I'm not going to tell who told me because someone has asked me not to tell the names who said it. So, this is the technique how we can generate curiosity and speak effectively in English. So, my first sentence goes, Rita narrates a story to the children. It's a simple present tense. Now, Rita is the doer of the action or the subject, what you may say so. And we have an object, and we have learnt this in simple sentences so far that we have subject and object or a verb in the sentence. This is the same thing which we have to play around little bit with when we are doing this active and passive. Now, at any point of time you are confused and probably you would be as to what is an object. So an object is a person or thing on which action is done. Please students, mind this sentence, please keep this sentence in your mind. An object is person or thing on which action is done. It is not the last word of the sentence. Sometimes students may get confused, the last word of the sentence must be the object, but it is not so. So our sentence is, Rita narrates a story to the children. To the children. Now in this sentence, the children is not the object. If I say Rita narrates, is she narrating the children? No, she is narrating a story. So we need to understand, in the minute you ask the question what? Rita narrates what? She narrates story. So it is an object here. So let's put this in a better way, or rather in a little complicated way. In passive voice, subject becomes object and object becomes subject. So we have a new subject, that is a story is narrated to the children by Rita. Rita is the doer of the action. Must remember, you do not change the doer of the action. So Rita is narrating. Rita still remains the narrator. Now, how do you still sustain her as a doer? Add the word by. How you can sustain her as a doer? By adding the word by. So subject becomes object and object becomes subject. Now my verb is in the present tense, narrates. When I put this verb narrates in the passive voice, I put it in the past participle. This is the second main principle of the passive change of active into passive, that we will use the past participle form of the verb. So I will change narrates into the past participle form. And what is the past participle form of the word narrate? That is narrated. So narrated is the past participle. Okay, students, you have to remember that you cannot change the tense. It will remain in the present tense. So just keep in the present. I use the word is story because it is one. I used a story is narrated. So I use the present supporting verb, present form of supporting verb, that is. A story is narrated to the children by Rita. Simple. So I tell you, a story is narrated to the kids by the teacher every single day. So I have put it into active to passive. Okay. So you have simple present tense, active, simple present tense, passive. So what we did is that is we change the subject into object, object into subject. The verb goes in the past participle form, and you add a supporting verb to maintain the tense of that particular sentence. Is that okay, my dear students? Now let's take a look at the next example in the present continuous tense. The doctor is treating these patients. Okay, so imagine the doctor is the doer. It's a simple and easy sentence. Is treating. The present continues here. Let's imagine I'm walking in the hospital and says, these patients are being treated by the doctor. Yes, this is the passive voice. Now let's see, is treating who? Who is the question? Or treating what? So here patients given, so we will ask who. For persons, we will use who. So these patients are the object. So we have these patients object. Now it becomes subject, and subject becomes object. Now what we have? We have the new object here. Now let's go step by step. Treating is the verb put up in a past participle form because it is in the present continuous tense. So you cannot change it. So we will write are being. This being is the present continuous form of the verb be. Is used in the passive voice because to maintain the continuous form, and you have are being because it is present continuous. In the past continuous we will use were being. So here we are doing present continuous tense. So what we will use are being because it is present continuous. So we put are here. But now you need to understand, in active sentence we have doctor is, but here is the patients. In active sentence we have the sentence that the doctor is. Now here is the patients are because that is plural. So you will have a plural verb, and here you have by. That means the doctor is still doing the action. Though you have put this sentence in the passive voice, he is the object and the doer of the action. Dear students, please remember you cannot change the doer, because if you do that, the whole meaning will change. You cannot say the patients are being treated the doctor. No, it's wrong. So the correct sentence is treated by the doctor. By the doctor because he is doing the action. Understood, students? So this is your simple present continuous tense. Let's move on to the next one, that is present perfect tense in the active to passive. The students have the sentences, the students have played this game. Students are doing the action, so students are subject and doer. And doing what? What are they doing? Played. And played what? Game. So game is an object. The tense is in past participle, but this game has played becomes wrong in passive voice. I want to tell you that the game has been played is the correct sentence. So here we put been in present perfect passive. So you got to remember these small things. So we have this game has been played by the students. I have followed the same rule. I have made subject into object and object changes into subject by the students. New object. This game has become the subject, but we use has because one game. There is one game. We have this is used means here one game. So remember, when you are changing subject into object and object into subject, the verb has to agree with the new subject. Alright students? Now what happens in the questions? Let's see. Why does your brother write such poems? Simple present tense. Why does your brother? Now let's change into passive. Why will remain there because it is a question. You want to keep it in the question form. Now why are your brother? Your brother is subject and such poems is object. Let's interchange. Why are such poems? Now verb, the past participle form of write is written by your brother. I have mentioned this tense. Subject becomes object and object becomes subject. You can write the sentence in the way, why are such poems written by your brother? Just to create curiosity. So what we do in the question remain the question, interchange of subject and object, verb changes into past participle. Okay students, I hope you all have understood this simple present tense of active and passive. I have told you earlier that you must have the knowledge of tenses if you want to do the active and passive. So please revise that topic also before doing this active and passive. So we will meet in the next video with the past tense of active and passive. Thank you class.